Good morning. Welcome to our podcast today. This week was a very busy week. We had many special guests. We know a little about the work of a flight attendant. We also know the work of a pilot. And we talked to the head of the customs department. And today I bring you a very special guest. Without the existence of professionals like him, air traffic would be chaos. There would be several accidents, several collisions in the air. Who am I talking about? It's his own, straight from the control tower. The air traffic controller, Eric. Good morning, Eric. Welcome to our podcast. We are very happy with his presence.
Good morning, Anna. When I received the invitation to be part of today's podcast, I felt very honored. I appreciate the invitation, and once again, I hope we can practice airport vocabulary and learn a lot from this podcast.
Certainly, Eric, this podcast will be essential in practicing vocabulary for many, many people. So does that mean you are a flight controller, or rather, an air traffic controller?
That's right, Anna. I am an air traffic controller. I've been working in this field for 5 years. Before that, I was a pilot, but I had a vision problem that prevented me from continuing to fly.
It's incredible to know that I have a pilot and an air traffic controller at the same time here. But I'm sorry, Eric. I understand that your vision problem prevented you from continuing to fly.
I believe, Anna, that things happen for a reason. Because I've discovered a role and a job that brings me great happiness as well. Ensuring airspace safety is a highly important mission, and this mission relies on air traffic controllers. In other words, it depends on me, and having been a pilot is a bonus in my role as an air traffic controller.
Wow, folks, did you hear what Eric just said? Despite facing vision challenges, he managed to find another role within his passion for aviation that he could love as well. This is incredibly exciting and important. Thank you for sharing with us, Eric. And for those of you at home listening to us through the radio, YouTube, Instagram, while driving, cooking, or exercising, if possible, grab your cup of coffee or tea, for those who don't like coffee. I've got my coffee cup because I love coffee. Let's continue enjoying this podcast. Moving forward in our conversation with Eric, I'd like to ask him 3 questions. What does it mean to be an air traffic controller? How can someone become an air traffic controller? What are the key terms related to your profession?
Thank you very much, Anna, for your question, or rather, questions. An air traffic controller is a highly trained professional responsible for ensuring the safety of aircraft. This type of professional typically works in control towers at airports or in air traffic control centers. The primary function of an air traffic controller is to maintain safe airspace by preventing collisions between aircraft. Air traffic controllers provide instructions to pilots, including directions, altitudes, and weather conditions, among other things. During a flight, they monitor the position of aircraft in the airspace. They can track flights from around the world 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, using radar and air traffic monitoring systems. During aircraft landings, controllers assist pilots in descent and ascent. Air traffic controllers also handle emergency situations, such as mechanical failures or security threats, including bomb threats, hijackings, and fires.
Wow, I was truly impressed with the size and importance of an air traffic controller. Thank you very much for your service, Eric. So, the air traffic controller ensures the safety of planes, assists with takeoffs and landings, prevents collisions between aircraft, and provides instructions to pilots. All of this is accomplished through radars, which are computers used to monitor all the aircraft in the airspace.
Exactly, Anna. What was the second question that I don't remember? Never mind, I've remembered the question. How did you become an air traffic controller, right? Well, I'll share a bit based on my experience. There are several paths to becoming an air traffic controller. Let me explain the path I took. I was already a pilot, which made things easier for me. I worked as a pilot in the Brazilian Air Force. I'm Brazilian. However, currently, I live and work here in Miami as an air traffic controller. When my vision issue arose, which isn't a problem for daily life but is a significant issue for a pilot's profession, I decided to move to Miami. My family is American, and that was crucial for working here. My father is American, and my mother was Brazilian. The Brazilian Air Force directly transferred me to the American Air Force to study air traffic control in the United States. Initially, it was supposed to be just a month, but I've been here ever since, thank God. And that's why I'm currently an air traffic controller here in the United States. As I mentioned, there are various paths, but I chose the Air Force route because I was already part of the Air Force. That's where I received my training to become an air traffic controller. But there are several schools across the country that prepare students to be air traffic controllers.
It's incredible to learn a bit more about your story and know that you're Brazilian. I didn't suspect it.
Many people think I'm American. In fact, I started speaking English when I was, well, around 2 years old. That's basically since forever. Actually, ever since I began speaking, right? That's why I'm fluent in English like a native. English has always been the primary language in my home. I learned to speak Portuguese from my mother. Although I was born in Brazil, within our home, we always spoke English. This was partly because my father is a typical American. As a result, I acquired fluency in both languages.
Interesting, Eric. So later we'll invite you to do a podcast about fluency in English and Portuguese.
It will be a pleasure.
Now, you just need to answer the last question. What are the most commonly used vocabulary terms in your profession?
Certainly, the airplane, the airport, air traffic control, air disaster, collision, takeoff runway, visibility, weather, rain, storm, wind, landing, takeoff, air navigation, radar, among others.
Eric, thank you very much for sharing a bit of your knowledge with us. Thank you for coming to our podcast, even though you faced a lot of difficulties with today's rain.
You're welcome, Anna. Thank you to all of you for welcoming me with such warmth on the recording set.
And to you, our viewers and listeners, did you enjoy getting to know Eric? Because we certainly loved getting to know him. Thank you to everyone, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Don't forget to like this channel and subscribe. It's essential for the growth of this podcast and for us to create more videos like this. Have a wonderful day until the next podcast.